folks, it's Simon again with Just Plant Trees. We're still here, we're still out in Lanzarote, a couple of days to do. So we touched on one or two other videos about should we be here, and I've already said no. And it brings me on to a good point, I believe, in transitional fuels, transitional energy between oil and gas and fossil fuels and other transitioning fuels as we move towards a renewable future, i.e. solar, wind, carbon capture and storage, heat from that system ideally, and potentially hydro and other systems that are out there in place and being developed currently. So as we're moving towards that and reducing the carbon in the atmosphere, we need to have transitional fuels. Another controversial issue, and you probably won't like me for this because we ummed and ahed about this idea of having a log burner installed in the house. Now, I've had them before. They can be bad for your breathing if you're breathing in the fine particulates from the wood, and of course there's particulates escaping into the atmosphere, and supposedly most up-to-date researchers, even with the DEFRA approved stoves, wood burning stoves, they're still giving off fine particulate into the atmosphere, so they're not really suitable for built-up areas at all, and ideally not suitable for anywhere if you want to completely reduce that particulate and CO2 production into the atmosphere from mainly burning wood. The drier the wood, the better. There's less CO2, I believe. However, and I think it's a big however, the cost of electric to heat your home at the moment, even with these small devices in place, is not cheap at all. So the geopolitics of the world in 2023, with the ongoing war between Russia and Ukraine, and fuel scarcity and hikes in prices of electric and gas, and even though these are still seen as cleaner fuels, they're certainly not clean. You look into what your gas boiler is pumping out into the atmosphere. It might not be full of as many particulates, but remember, somebody's got to bring it to your door. They've got to pipe it to your door. So all that oil exploration, drilling, pumping, storing of the gas and the oil, and then they've got to get it to your house, to your town, city or village. It's very much the same in some ways for electric, but how much is your provider claiming they're providing your energy through renewables? So it's very, very difficult. You have a look if you're interested. You may well have done if you're interested in listening to my channel. And while we're on the subject, please like, subscribe and share if you like my content. Obviously you might not like it all, but such is life, eh? So yeah, log burners, I think they're a transitional use. I think they give you, on the positive side, they give you that freedom. You know, you're going back to some raw, natural thing. Now, yes, fair enough, it's not an open fire, it's enclosed. Probably looking at about £2,500 to have one properly fitted with a carbon dioxide a filter in your house, an alarm. I've talked already about the negative health benefits potentially from them. However, you know, if you keep your door closed most of the time when you're restocking, you know, try not to particularly breathe anything in and restock fairly quickly with your logs. But there still is potential for that, obviously, to be back in your room, and for people already, the young and elderly, with breathing problems, then there's potential there to cause further problems. So that's to be borne in mind. But I mean, that's at your risk, as long as you know the risks there and you want to take them. If you don't want that sort of dirty air fuel around your house, because there is more dust with them, there's no doubt. There's more mess on your carpet, even if you've got a nice hearth, which they all legally should have anyway. An hearth that it sits that it sits on and back from. Yeah, touching on the positives of it, it really does give you a sense of freedom. It gives you exercise, you've got to think ahead, you have to think ahead when you're stocking, but really not for everybody, lots of people. I would imagine, and it's been sold as somehow that it's for the rich middle classes. We're certainly not rich middle class, we're above average income for a UK household. So, make of that stat what you will. We collect mainly pallet wood. So you've got the resin from the wood there. Potentially, should we be burning pallets? We burn dry pallets. We leave them standing, and then we cook them with electric chainsaws, just a cheap electric chainsaw, and file down the chain periodically with a small file to keep it sharp. So we are using electric to cut the wood. I collect it as local as possible and I put them in the back of the car. I've got a good source and a good supply of waste wood. It just goes in people's skips. Now, who uses that? It's probably people like me. Is it going into landfill? Well, that's not great either. If you put it in landfill, it's just going to seep out its carbon into the atmosphere eventually. Potentially, I think it's being collected and used for other sources, other wood sources. Good pallets are collected by the system. There are in every town, every city in the UK. There seems to be companies who will buy pallets like scrap metal. So that system is there in place. It could be argued that they've been made, they've been put together, wood's been cut, they're made into shape, and they should continuously be used, which I agree. Most of the pallets I collect are old, fairly old pallets, but some aren't. Some are brand new. I'll be honest about that. Some are fairly new, and it's releasing the carbon that the tree has stored within that wood back into the atmosphere. So it's all that to be borne in mind. However, and it's a big however, it's a transitional fuel. I see it as a cleaner fuel. It's closer to home, it's more local, it's harder work. You don't just switch on a dial and it comes on. You've got to go to a lot more work, so you have to have the time. So it will put an awful lot of people off having them. But I think potentially in 10 years' time, it probably will just be a feature in the house. We've got an oldish house, ex-council house. We're on the edge of a small town. We have a lot of tree cover nearby. I'm not trying to convince anybody that we're doing the greatest thing for the environment, even though I'm an environmentalist. But if you ask out there and see how many people have them and do use them, and you can heat your whole house with a 5 kilowatt stove. So it's a big investment, but the money saved on gas and electric currently, we personally think it'll pay for itself in 2 to 3 years' time, and then it'll be a money saver. But that again is obviously only one benefit to us. It's not a benefit to the environment. But if you're looking at it being a transitional, what I mean by that is we're waiting for more efficient heating systems to come in. So your ground source pumps and your heat source pumps and pumps that take in air from outside your house using electricity currently and converting it to heat in your house. They're out there. There's grants for them. I hear various things about them. What I believe is they're much more efficient for small houses, small modern houses. For your older house like ours, 70, 80-year-old, with a cavity wall, and those sorts of houses, I don't believe they're as good currently. But I'm sure they will improve. There's a market for those there, but the uptake of them has been nowhere near as high as this current government we're hoping for. Sticks and paper, obviously you need dry paper, you need lots of it. Again, I'm not trying to sell them to anybody. It's just a discussional option for people to consider. Cities and the amount of smoke, some areas won't let you have them anyway, even if they're a top quality 80% efficient stove, brand new stove, like ours, the brand new ones, the Department for the Environment, Fisheries and Rural Affairs currently, DEFRA, have sanctioned that some are suitable, but certain local authorities, local councils will not let you have them regardless because of the pollutants coming from them. But again, I urge you to go and have a look what's coming out of your gas boiler and into the atmosphere. You know, there's loads and loads of carbon dioxide and fine particulate, but not on the level, anywhere near the level of wood burning. So my aim really is to save that reliance on, you know, and I'm not convinced at all that bringing gas from the North Russian Sea and pumping it across Europe, you're not telling me that's good for the environment, you know, and along the way there's not a lot of fine particulate given out from that industry, because I'm afraid there is. So for some people I think they are an option. So yeah, I think that's an interesting topic for today. So please like, subscribe and share on the channel. As I always say, I'm not here to monetize. I've no interest in monetizing because I've no control over the adverts that will actually make me money. And again, that's not me trying to take moral high ground about people that do. If it gets to a level where it does monetize, then I'll look at that situation and I'll discuss it on the channel. What I would like, in some ways, would be to move along into a channel. I'm going to have to just, I've not got my selfie stick. I'll move along to a system like Mossy Earth. I'd urge you to go and have a look at their channel, and Leave Curious, Rob on Leave Curious. I think they're two great channels, and they do ask for extra content and a subscription fee, and especially Mossy Earth are using that money to buy up land all over the world. All over the world. They're using it obviously to travel and get to places. They don't seem to fly. They use trains in Europe. I don't think they've been over to the UK as far as I can see. They've been up to Iceland, so of course they would have to fly up there, but I don't think they use a lot of jet fuel in that sense. So that will be I'll be quite open and honest about it now, that would be one potential for a channel like this to actually raise some money through individuals worldwide to be put into offsetting programs, and they can be looked at on the channel. As I say, I'm an environmental student through the Open University, so it's something that I'm going to spend the rest of my life really involved in, whether it be green politics, green agriculture, renewables. While I've got some breath in my body, that's the direction my life has taken after many years working in a totally different industry. So that's my sort of little backstory, if you like. So yeah, potentially to raise money through a channel, you know, and then people can have a vote. Subscribers can have a vote as to what we can do with that. Do we buy up forestry? Do we buy up agricultural land and use it for renewable agriculture? And then, as with Mossy Earth, you know, we'll show at the end of every 6 months or a year exactly what's happening with constant updated videos. And of course, my editing at the moment isn't at that stage of these channels, and I think that will put people off. And I'm happy with that for now, but I would like to put out content where, you know, people can really can learn something, keep them interested. and we can grow a population worldwide of people that are really, really into the planet, because it unites us all, doesn't it? I know it sounds um, really corny, but it unites us all. If we've not got fresh air, we've not got clean water, our oceans aren't clean, our polar regions aren't cold, they're melting. Um, if we can't get back to pre-industrial sort of situations while we're still growing massively as a population, looking to potentially reach 10 billion by 2050, potentially between 9 and 10 billion, so an extra 2.5, potentially 3 billion people on the planet in the next 30 years or so, even less years, potentially 27 years. What's going off there? That's not sustainable on the planet. So whatever background you come from, this has got to be a topic that unites us all, and potentially it could be a topic that unites the whole of mankind and womankind. A topic that brings us all together, that makes us realise that we really are potentially um, the custodians of our own future. So it's a topic that I'd love to hear people's opinions on. As I say, always keep them polite, please, and friendly if we can. I like a hot debate, but let's try and keep it friendly, because just bear in mind, in writing, it doesn't depict a lot of feeling, however good a writer you are. So please bear that in mind if you do comment. If we get 7 subscribers, then I'm happy enough with that. If we get 8, I'll be ecstatic. Let's go for a few more if we can. Alright, and just remember as well, guys, just plant trees. See you later.